Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
All right. I'm the early bird. I got this West Coast start time this morning. Good thing I'm an early bird.
Yeah, good morning. Hello, everybody.
Hello. So we got a unique opportunity this morning. Unlike most of our conference events, this is just like an open session. Anyone can come off mute. At any point, if you want to turn your video on, you have the ability to do so. It's not very structured. This is kind of just our pre-conference chat last year. We had one of these and we thought it went very well. And so we thought that we'll do two of them this year for both Saturday and Sunday mornings. And we get a chance to just talk amongst each other. Last year, we had some really good dialogue where we had both faculty and students online. And it was just really good dialogue back and forth. So I have a few talking points to kind of get dialogue started. But first, what I'd like to see is, do we have any faculty or administrators that are on today? If you are, could you just give me a little hand raise? Just a small hand, raise your hand if you are faculty or an administrator. And I know some of the names. So for sure we have one. I know we got like three officially in here already. All right. So one of the things that I wanted to just kind of start some dialogue about right now is the difference between our talent, our potential, and then what we actually accomplish. And so as STEM students, you're very, very intelligent. We come from students who make really good grades in high school, then they make it into college. You have very high potential. And so what I wanted to just kind of start a small dialogue about today is, how do we reach that potential? How do we not get in our own way? And if we do have any faculty and administrators on, I wanted to get your viewpoint of students that you've had who've had like great potential versus students that you were like, hey, I didn't know that they were going to become this, but due to work ethic and humility and, following kind of the game plan, they achieved more than you thought that they were going to achieve, when a person who just kind of had this great talent and potential didn't think about all the skills that are needed to become great. And so I just wanted to kind of start a dialogue off with that, because I felt like I'm one of those people. I didn't start so strong, but I finished very well. But it was because I finally understood how to take that guidance and how to show humility and take advice from those that knew more than me. Because sometimes our arrogance, because we think we make good grades or whatever, we know how to do our scientific equations and all of our mathematical formulas, that we know everything. And I think there's a certain amount of humbling that needs to take place for us. And then I believe that LSAP, LSMRCE, and just all the alliances, we have a really good support system in place, but that support is only of value to you if you want it and if you believe that it can help you. So I just wanted to start some dialogue off around that. Please feel free to take any of your devices off mute, as everyone has the freedom to speak today. And I would like in the chat, I'm not sure if everybody we cannot see everyone's chat. I think we should be able to. I'm gonna do a quick good morning. If you actually are eating breakfast, could you let me know? Let us know what you have. I know a few people already told me they got like real breakfast meals right now. So what are you having for breakfast?
I'll jump in. Good morning, everybody. I'm not eating breakfast right now, but I'm sipping on some water. So I hope everyone is staying hydrated. I'm an administrator at Rutgers University. I was a part of the GSL SNAP program in New Jersey. And something that I found over the years in students, and this is from K through 12 through college and beyond, is that when you don't have exposure or awareness in a certain field, coupled with some type of knowledge and skill set, that's when students' confidence and their abilities can be fostered a little bit more. So I think that that's something that I've noticed in students that heard about LSAMP or STEM major, but probably didn't have someone in their family who also was a part of a STEM major or career path, and they just didn't know that it was possible. So you asked the question, what can we do to kind of foster that talent? I think that just by exposing folks to more possibilities that they can achieve in the STEM field is huge. And then from young. So if there's programs more for youth, that might be really, really great. Maybe bringing them back to a college campus where there's all sorts of mentoring programs. I think that that's a nice way to really, really capture someone's awareness in some type of discipline. I'll start off with that.
No, I absolutely agree with that, Dominique. I go back to when I was in high school. My goal, I thought I was going to be a lawyer because they said I talk a lot. My teacher's like, you talk a lot, let's become a lawyer. But I got exposed to a robotic competition, and we were able to build a robot. And the Cisco Systems Network was sponsored a networking program
I think your line is breaking up. Hello?
We're losing you, Brian.
Brian, you're echoing.
Yeah, I think you are breaking up.
I think you have, did you log into hoover.com as well? Maybe you can probably close out of one of them and stay. You're echoing. I think it happens when you have hoover.com, you know, when you're accessed through hoover.com as well as Zoom. You're breaking up now.
Why don't you just rejoin and see if you get a better connection?
All right.
Good morning, everybody.
So while we're waiting for Brian to come in, did we have any other administrators that wanted to maybe talk about one of the students that they had, or maybe they themselves were a student, how that the potential versus the actual was something that had to be worked, had to be massaged a little bit?
All right, is that a little better?
No, ma'am. No, sir. It's hollow.
No, it's kind of weird. Just went away.
Well, we hear you better though, so go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just saying that I'm an example, Dominique, of that exposure. And so I would, are there any others that are on the line today that had that same kind of experience where it was just something small, some form of really small exposure, not even something major, that got you on the track that you're on today? And if so, what are you doing also to help try to get that same exposure for those coming behind you?
Question for you. I'm kind of confused about your question a little bit. What kind of exposure are you talking about?
Exposure to STEM opportunities. So we have many students. You take an example of myself. I was not exposed in my neighborhood growing up to anything STEM related. That wasn't a thing until I got to high school. Some of us, my son, completely opposite. My son is in STEM stuff at 5 years old, right? So his exposure is coming extremely early in life. But for some of us, it comes later based off of, maybe the areas that we grow up in. And so the question is, was there some form of exposure? And it could be early in life, later in life for you, to where having that ability to just be around it kind of puts you on the path that you're on today. And that's for anyone.
Okay.
So I'm going to share a little bit about one of my students. And sorry, I don't have my camera on at the moment, but so sometimes it's not just exposure, but being surrounded to those that are with the same likings as you in STEM, right? So for instance, I've had students that were very much in love with STEM, and they're like, okay, let me do it, but they didn't know how to go about it, right? So even when they unfortunately went through obstacles in high school or college regarding a class, unfortunately, sometimes family members or friends are like, dude, well, why are you majoring in that? You should quit. And sometimes, thank goodness, finding resources like LSAMP and convincing her that, and again, that's the particular student that I'm thinking about, but convincing her that it was a great opportunity for her. Once she got into it, she realized, oh my goodness, there's a lot of people that are like me, that like this, that yes, there's struggles, but we can overcome. And I mean, she flourished, completely flourished from, and she was hesitant about it. So there's those things too, that it's not just about you and your personal exposure, but being surrounded by those that are understand what you're going through and the things that career path might challenge you with, but that you can definitely overcome and believe in you. So hope that makes sense.
To add up to what you were saying, I think what you were saying just makes sense very much, because when it comes to exposure, not everybody have had the same kind of group of people around. Like some people, I guess, who kind of like travel, especially when you travel from some place to another place, and supposing you come to this country and you are here to study, I will not have the same exposure as you, Brian, will have, or as anybody on this over here will have. That is why our son becomes very, very much important. Because like, I remember when I started, when I chose this path that I am on right now, I really didn't know much. I didn't know a whole lot. And I started the school, even though I had the passion. Usually it is our passion that takes us through what we want to do. So my passion actually led me through the line that I wanted to go through. And I was in the school, not knowing a whole lot. I was kind of like, oh, will this work out or not? It was almost like a gamble game that I was playing until I had an email from LSAM. And I was always on campus, but I never saw LSAM kind of like banner or poster or anything anywhere. So until I had the email and I read through the email and I realized, oh, this was some kind of like, these are a group of people that really support people who have the passion to go into the STEM field. That is when I became full recognition of the impact and like what I can actually do. LSAM is a very good source, but I think that they should be magnified on various institutions and campuses so that people like us who don't really have so much of people who like, excuse me, I'm kind of like missing the words, but what I'm saying is like people like us who don't really have a lot of connections or know people or who come exposed to people like that will be able to get connected through the LSAM and take advantage of it. Because I think without the LSAM on campus like that, I probably would have maybe stopped what I'm doing right now. But when I came around with them through their guidance and counseling, and they have actually helped me a whole lot. So I think the exposure comes from, even though you could get the exposure from your relative friends, but in the institution that you are in, when the LSAM is very, very, very strong over there, I think that is the best way of getting exposure. And we should kind of like encourage and strengthen the LSAMs in various institutions. Especially we should engage most of the students as part of like, I think most of the times it is the faculty members who take it upon themselves, but if they relegate some of the responsibilities to the students, because in classes, students could communicate, make friends, and like spread out the good ways. about LSAM, and it will help people to get exposed to it and eventually help them out. And that's what I wanted to add to it.
No, that's really good feedback. And it is true that there's some organizations that I've worked with over the years and been a part of that really have a strong presence on their campus because the students lead it and drive it. And so that's really good feedback from those that are leaders. It's important that we do spread that word through. So this, while I'm working on my audio, have LSAM at the campuses, is there anything you're doing different to try to help increase the presence of LSAM on your campus and get the information out to the students more?
Hey, Brian, I think you were cutting out there. We didn't get the last part of what you said. Is everybody else hearing the same? Okay.
He's breaking
No,
up.
yeah.
Hey, Brian, I sent you some info in the chat about playing with your audio settings if you want to try that.
Well, I'll add something real quick. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I think I know something that Linda put in the chat. I think it's really important that we get people involved as early as possible if we can get them in high school or elementary school. I know sometimes just based on opportunities, people can't get involved. So I think for those opportunities, like when people are doing college visits, if we can get them involved and know about things like LSAMP and Inspire. So just for example, especially for like freshman students. So for example, yesterday I was Iowa State talking to a freshman class, and a lot of them hadn't really thought about research or even knew if research was for them. And got to talk to them about Inspire, and got a few of them were interested, and they just had no idea that it was even possible for them to do research as freshmen. So I think a lot of times it is the access, it is the knowledge. And once people have that knowledge is power, and then they can do something with it. And so if I think I agree, the earlier we can get people, the better. But if we want to focus on when we're getting people and recruiting them for college visits for just freshman classes, I think that would be a key first step as well.
And just to elaborate a little bit on what Paul said, as you know, Brian comes back, I think that just in hearing what everybody is just saying about the sense of community that LSM has for them, I think that's the biggest piece right there that really captivates one when they're in the program, even thinking about it, or even building on with things that they are interested in, want to do after they graduate. The fact that you're able to see people that look like you, was probably raised in similar backgrounds as you, that were like, oh, they're doing it, maybe I can do it too. That really also gives one that confidence and that boost they need to see themselves as that.
Definitely. So I think Brian put it in the chat, but so what are we doing at some of the other universities as far as to spread the LSAM message? Are we doing stuff at recruiting events, like when students are coming in, or over the summer? I'm curious what other schools are doing. And anyone can answer that question as far as, or maybe you can tell me how you found out about LSAM. That might be another route as well.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, much better.
All right. So thank you, Paul, for asking that question. And that is a really good question that I want us to think about right now. So we know the power of LSAM. Like, some of us are alumni, so we know how impactful it can be to our lives. I love the feedback from the gentleman earlier as well about how much it helped him with the exposure on his campus. So kind of a question I'd like for us to think about is, what are you doing if you're faculty, if you're a student, what are we doing to spread the LSAMP message on our campus? Or, you know, maybe you want to brainstorm something now and throw out a suggestion or an idea. But if we know that there's such a powerful impact in our lives because of LSAMP and because of regional support systems such as LSMRCE, what can we do, or what are we doing differently at our campuses to help spread this message?
Linda, we can't hear you.
You're on mute, Linda. No audio for you, Linda. If someone else wants to go while Linda's working out her audio, we'll have someone else go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so my name is Della. I'm at Kirkwood Community College in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Do you guys hear me?
Yes, we hear you very well.
Yeah, so actually, I got to join LSM through my chemistry professor, Ted. He's also on the platform right now. So like he informed me about LSAMP, and I did join. So Kirkwood, Kirkwood is not really big. So like it's I'll say small or medium sized community college. So like that's how I got to join LSAMP, and I think like Ted like for my 2 years at Kirkwood, I believe like he's really done a really good job reaching out to students and all of that. So he got me into LSAMP. Then like what I also do, like classes that I take, I tell my colleagues about LSAMP, about like the opportunities that they can have access to. So like the past year I was able to get 2 of my colleagues into LSAMP. One who is studying engineering, and the other one who is studying chemistry to go into pre-med. So like that's why I think like we also have a responsibility as students, like to spread the message about LSAMP. Even like people who are not minorities, we can still tell them, because like LSAMP, I believe like we know about undergrad research, just like somebody was saying right now. The freshmen did not know about undergrad research, but I think like we are aware of it, so like we can share the information like with our friends, with our colleagues, and like usually like I have these LSAM flyers that I sometimes like give to people that I see on campus, like that I know like would be interested in doing research or anything of that kind. So like that's how I get to like get people aware of like the opportunities that they can have with LSAMP and other opportunities that they have with like research. I'm trying to convince a friend of mine right now to actually do research in the summer. Yeah, so like that's what I do.
Awesome. Thanks for that feedback. We'll go over to Diana and then
Yes,
over to.
Thank you. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Yes, I have a similar experience. I'm a senior in neuroscience and behavior at Rutgers University, Newark. And yeah, and it was thanks to my professors that I knew about the LSAMP. And I have to say that that definitely changed the direction of how I will approach my my view towards graduate school. Like it was like the first time that I saw, wow, this is possible. And also that I receive a substantial support, a factual support, like, yes, you can do research and you can receive a stipend for that. And I was like, wow, I don't have to decide in between going to work or doing research, because now I have the opportunity to do that. So I really feel like professors play an important role in trying to spread the word about the LSAMP and make a difference in students that comes from a minority background.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
that, Diane. You know, I think not only now that you have that experience, I guess the challenge is how do you now continue, you know, that legacy and passing that on to those that are going to be coming behind you with that similar background. So which kind of passing the torch.
And I can answer that question right now. I'm a mentor for the B2B program. So right now I'm mentoring students from community colleges in how they can now transfer to a 4-year school, but not only that, but I'm trying to give them a view beyond that, beyond the 4-year school, what you can do, the kind of resources that you can find in programs like LSAMP, but also your opportunities don't end there. You can look forward for a PhD and you don't have to pay for that. Because in my case, the first step was trying to demystify, like, okay, so people that go towards PhD are like super smart and or people that have a lot of resources that probably I don't have. And it is thanks to these kind of programs that I could see like, oh, I can be there too. And of course, I had also someone mentioned the importance of having people that are like us, people that can be like an example and inspire us, like the fact that I can find women that are Latina, that are immigrants like myself. That really inspires me. Like, this is not just for a certain population, but the fact that I'm a minority, I have also the opportunity to be there. So yeah, I really like the program B2B from the LSAMP, because it really inspires me as well to give to others, to give back, and probably not give back, but give more of what I have right now. Yeah.
Awesome. And that's very powerful, that we don't have to, even as students, we don't have to wait until we graduate. We don't have to wait until we get our PhDs. We can make an impact right now with the knowledge that we have, because you may think that you have a small amount of knowledge, but that small amount might be just a little bit more than the person that's coming behind you. So anything you learn, make sure you're sharing that, because somebody needs it. Thank you so much. Della?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yep, you had your hand raised. You wanted to share?
I did already share. That's why.
Oh, sorry. I'm following my hand raises again. Was one else like to share?
I wanted to kind of like add to what Diana was saying, to the fact that it is very, very important to be able to relate and get someone who you feel like have the same kind of like, is in the same kind of like situation as you are in. Because normally as immigrants, Brian, I don't know, like, I think most of you guys who have experiences as minorities, but our experience is way different. Like, especially if you kind of like move from one place to another place, you'll probably be lucky if you move from one place to another place and you have people or you have your family already here. But if you move from one place to another place and you don't know anybody and you have kind of like basically have to do everything to be able to survive by yourself, that is where it becomes very, 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 very important that LSAM gets people that are more into people that can be people that other students will be able to relate and connect more easily. I am very, very, very proud of. I used to be. I'm now not in Sinclair, but I used to be in Sinclair Community College, and that was where my story started. Like, And I can't really stop thanking them, like, because the LSAM community over there provided me with a whole lot of like opportunities, and they still keep supporting me. They are almost like my backbone in this country. Right, coming over here and I wanted to go to school, it was very, 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 very tedious because the educational system over here is way different from any other country. I don't know. I think most immigrants will probably bear witness to what I'm saying, that if you go to other countries, how with the educational system is structured over there and over here is entirely different. And for you to be able to get the peace of mind and like focus, and because student success is not just about going to class, it is a whole lot. You need to be able to get your time to study, you need to be able to organize yourself, and if you are here, you also need to work to be able to finance yourself. All these things, if the LSAM community do not have people that have that kind of like experience that will be able to understand these struggles in these lines, it will be like a white elephant. It will be like the LSAM will be like a group that is just there for something. But if you really get people that are more involved and have those kind of experiences and are willing to listen and search for people in need like that, I think it will help out very well. I think that is my way of seeing it. And I wish LSAM was doing it in that way more and more and more and more and more. St. Clair is already doing it, but I don't know about other institutions because I am in another institution and I've not really heard much of LSAM presence over there like as it is. So
yeah, and I will challenge you back on just one item. Though many of our students may come, maybe grow up or born in the U.S. Some of those same challenges that you just said as being an immigrant, have students in the U.S. that have those exact same issues when they go to college, because going to a college campus, and I'm a prime example, when I went to a college campus, that was going to a foreign land for me. I had never seen anything like that. I have never been exposed to something like that. I was afraid, I was scared. I felt like I wasn't smart enough. And so what I will say is that's great feedback, but I do think that the problem that we're trying to solve is not just for immigrant students, but I think it's for all of those who this college experience is kind of new and confusing, and we're trying to find our way. And I think that that's at the big picture, right? If we just want to say, hey, let's solve it as a whole, I think the solving of it is us as LSAMP alliances and as like LSMRCE at the regional level, that we're looking at what are the life issues of our students beyond just the academics. How do we help them feel comfortable about the day-to-day activities that they have to go through? How do we help build partnerships and friendships so they kind of have a group of friends to hang out with as they're getting to know their way throughout the campus? And I think those are really important things to think beyond just the academic side, but the life side of our students, and making sure that they are in an environment where they feel comfortable and can put out their best performance for their future. So I really, really appreciate you bringing that to the forefront. But just also as a person who, everything you just said as an immigrant, I felt that exact same way when I went to a college campus that was 5 hours from my house. It was like I went to a whole different place. So I'm pretty sure others on the line feel the same way. And I would love your feedback if anyone else would like to share feedback on that. So really thank you, Barry, for kind of pushing the conversation that way. And I would love any feedback from any administrators or other students. Please feel free to take your devices off mute.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
Okay, my name is Deborah, and I'm with Houston Community College. And I want to say I just joined this platform like a few weeks ago. And what it has done for me is it has given me a self, like a belonging, being an immigrant myself, but and also being in the science field for the first time, it's actually giving me more of a direction and a sense of belonging. And how I got to know about this was just that a professor just, I don't know how he singled me out. I just got an email and I read about it and everything. And, and I decided to join. And even when I was told that, okay, I won't fall into the category where I get something like a stipend, but I'm like, hey, this is like, I just want to be part of this and everything, because I see this, helping me to discover who I am and helping me, to gain far more experience than money cannot even buy. So, and when I got into the group, I got to meet more people virtually and everything. And I don't know how they do it in my school. I think how they do it is, I think once you apply in, I think they just pick you based on maybe your race, that you declare and everything when you are, signing up and everything. And I think they send you a mail randomly. Then it's left to you to actually, go ahead with the application or something. But personally, I've not said anything to any other person, because really I've just been doing most of my classes online. And recently, because of the COVID, we just got back to school like 2 weeks ago. So, and it's a new experience to me. Like somebody said earlier, I'm struggling with the timing, struggling with coping with everything, it's a whole lot, but I'm enjoying every bit of it. And thank you for creating this platform.
No, thank you. While you're speaking, first, welcome to the LSAM family. Secondly, we are going to do everything that we can to reach out to you and get a little bit more information on you, so we can support your LSAM journey. You're part of the family now, right? So people will confirm, like, because we have alumni here, we stay connected. And what I like to do is, Paul, you're still on. If you can get her information, and I would like we can use our alumni family to reach out to her and kind of give her a welcoming and let her know the beauty of what LSAMP has, not only at her campus, but beyond her campus as well. So welcome to the family. Looks like Diana, you wanted to share.
Thank you.
Real quick. Is your audio back, Linda?
I can try.
Yay! All right, I'm gonna come back to you, Diana.
Okay.
So, come on.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a professor in chemistry at Valdosta State University and the and the research coordinator for our LSAM students. And something that we are doing now is collaborating with our undergraduate research council of the university. And whenever they have events or meetings, we make sure that there's an LSAM present there. So the students know about the opportunities. And we're also working very closely with our college and the Dean of Science and Math. And they have a peer mentoring program. And a lot of them are students that are doing research in our campus. So we're very glad that they are able to, talk to incoming freshmen about the opportunities and their experience doing research in science. And the thing that I put on the chat was that it's very important to have exciting speakers and events in the campus so that the students know what research is about, what contributions they can make. And once the students find that area that is really of interest to them, they really thrive. That's what's happened to me with my students and what I see with my colleagues. Students try different research maybe, but they get really interested on one topic, and then their dedication just blooms, and they want to do everything they can to succeed on their research and also to communicate their results. And so they are just participating on all of these events, presenting posters, and becoming more involved.
Thank you so much. It's nice to hear your passion about it. I think the students, we get excited about the opportunities, but I think we don't always get a chance to see how important this is to our faculty and our administrators. You guys really care. You commit. You give a lot of your time to supporting our students, and we really appreciate your passion around supporting Linda. So thank you so much. All right, Diana, did you want to go back in there and share?
Yes, I really love to see how your experiences as leaders right now are based on the empathy. And something that I love from all the LSMRCE speakers is when they share like their stories. And I really got that inspiration because something that we, independently of if we are immigrants or come from another minority background, I really feel like we share in common that we have some disadvantages. But having people around us that is reminding us that disadvantages could be the starting point, but it doesn't need to be the end point. And that actually we can make the difference, we can make a change, but we cannot do it by ourselves. We really need that support. We really need that guidance. And well, I know that for people that is not rooted in this country initially, we have to face different challenges, cultural challenges. Trying to understand how the culture works is sometimes hard. It takes time to adjust to that, and but at the same time, it is really uplifting to see that we have mentors around us and people that is ahead of us, trying to show us this is how the next stage looks like, and this is what you need to be there. For instance, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I spend most of the time doing research with just one professor. And now I'm the point to apply to graduate schools, and they are asking for 3 letters of recommendations from 3 different mentors. And they even say like, if it is better if they are like, they have the chance to talk about your research experience. And I was like, okay, if I knew that, I probably would rotate in 3 different labs so that I can get 3 letters of recommendations about my research experience. But I didn't know that. And at this point, I had the chance to rotate into different labs, but I'm like, okay, what would I do differently for students in the future? If this is what universities in a graduate level are asking for, I want to be sure that they have all those resources, that they don't have to scramble at the end like I'm struggling right now. Okay, so who could be like my 3rd recommender? And also, I see, for example, that in graduate schools right now that I'm more looking into that, like they have rotations right in the beginning. Like during the first years, they have rotations. Students have the chance to rotate to different labs and to get a sense, okay, I really want to spend most of my time here. And I was thinking, well, that would be great if we can create a system similar to that in a lower level. I mean, community colleges. I mean, in 4-year schools, because that really helps us to transition towards the whole spectrum of education. And I really would love that more minority students can get the chance to be doctors in the future and continue expanding science and expanding hope and empathy about bringing diversity into science.
Yeah, what I will say, Donna, one, thank you for your feedback and your passion around the topic. There's a lot more resources out there for you all, then you know. I think the challenge that I want to have in my dialogue with the LSAM community and LSMRCE is, you know, how do we continue to ensure that this information is in front of you? For those that don't know, and Paul, I'd like for you to step in here too. For those that don't know, we have webinars and trainings all year long. I mean, we're doing at least, I don't know if Deb's on here, but we probably do at least 15 to 20 webinars where we get into specific training and development for you to get into grad school or just navigating undergraduate, et cetera. So we want to make sure that you guys are getting connected. Those go out to all of our alliances, but I do know sometimes, like your emails, these may go to your junk email. You may want to double check and make sure that you put those as a contact. And all of these things are going to your main email. Deb sends a lot of really good communication about internship opportunities, about job opportunities, and about our trainings. And we also have these in a library. We put all of this into all these trainings. We actually save, and we have a library of all of these opportunities. So definitely want to make sure that you guys stay connected with LSAMP and make sure that you are up to date with our latest communication. And then Paul's going to talk about it at the morning session a little bit more, but I wanted to use just a few minutes here as a plug for Paul to talk about what the alumni, LSAMP alumni is doing. Paul is actually the leader of that. Can you kind of do a plug for what you guys are doing on the alumni side, Paul? Unless we lost him. Oh, he's back.
Yeah. So talking about the National Association of LSAMP Alumni. So that's a mouthful. So just say NALA for short. But really, it's a community for us as alumni. So LSAMP has been a wonderful community, so us to stay connected even after we graduate. So myself, I'm currently working in industry. I have people in grad school, PhD students, professors, people who have their PhDs in industry. So a lot of stuff that Brian was mentioning as far as different webinars and workshops, we've been partnering with LSMRCE to provide different panels. So I don't know how many people were on the panel yesterday for imposter syndrome, but that was led by our VP and one of our LSAMP alumni as well. And then we have some other stuff that we'll be doing this afternoon with our resource fair. And I'll be talking a little bit more about NALA right before the keynote. So this is kind of a appetizer for it. But really, if you are interested in staying connected with LSAMP, even beyond graduating, or even you're an undergrad, but you want to stay connected with some stuff that we're doing, we have quarterly town halls. So next town hall will be next month. And we just love to get connected with ourselves and get connected with students and come back and do this. So thanks for letting me share that, Brian.
No problem. And I think it's important that I share that everybody that's part of NALA was you. They were you. Yeah. So not somebody, that has no idea what it's like to matriculate through the process. They were going through some of the similar challenges. Now, they may not have the exact life challenges that you may have had, but as it pertains to the STEM journey, they went through that same STEM journey. And so then what I would challenge is the challenge to NALA is to try to maybe understand the life aspects of some of their alumni. So then as students are reaching out and they're trying to build those relationships and mentorships, we're able to connect them to people who share, like Barry said earlier, not only sharing the STEM journey, but also sharing maybe some of the similar life journeys as well.
Definitely. We're doing that with the mentorship program, but definitely opportunities to do that without having that direct contact with the mentorship as well.
All right. So what we'll do here is we'll start to wrap up. We're launching our kickoff session in about 10 minutes. And I'll be transitioning over as I get set up for kicking off today's conference. But what I'd like to do is just do one or two last commentary from anyone about just any topic around LSAMP, any feedback on our dialogue today. And if as we wrap up, I also just want to say thank you for joining the Breakfast Talk. We do have another at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning before we start our conference as well. And we really look forward to you joining then. I'm just really happy that so many people decided to come and listen to this dialogue this morning. I really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you all. So any bit of feedback from anyone before we wrap up today? And feel free, you can use the raise your hand feature, or you can just take yourself off mute.
I just wanted to say thank you. And I wanted to say that I think, do LSAM give scholarships and all those kind of things?
We're exposed to scholarships, yep.
Okay, all right.
So,
Because I think we should be talking more about that too. That is also a very good way of getting people into the program.
Yeah, I would say that one thing that we need to figure out is we have a lot of information, but as I am moving through the different circles, students are asking questions about stuff that we know that has been communicated. And so what I want to challenge the LSAP community and LSMRCE, will have some chats about how do we resolve this issue of the information not making it directly to the student. I think that's a big challenge that we have, because there is a lot of opportunity out there. And I know Deb, she sends these communication channels out. I know I receive them, and I'm not even a student anymore. So we got to solve that riddle. But I do really appreciate you all being transparent about that, because it doesn't matter if we have the information if you're not receiving it. So we're gonna work really hard to make sure that that information makes it to you, so you know about all the wonderful things that LSMRCE and the LSAM community are doing, because they are doing amazing things for you. And sometimes one of the challenges that we see is that we didn't leverage all of the opportunities that were out there that the community had put forth.
Ryan, this is Kim Nguyen.
Hey,
Thank
Dr.
you. Thank
Look,
you for hosting
royalty
a
royalty this morning.
wonderful conversation. There are level of supports that can help you to achieve your goal, whether it is graduate school, whether career and job opportunity. Log into and sign up for the newsletter, because those webinars not only give you the information, but give you a link to the resource that you will need, and make yourself available and being part of the community. So it will help you find opportunities for what you like to do. For instance, there is a post-baccalaureate research education program, which is called PrEP. At IUPUI, we call iPrep. It's a program funded by NIH to help students who believe that they ultimately want to have a PhD, but don't have money and don't know where and how to get there. So if you look on the web for PrEP program, PREP, PrEP program have 30 plus program across the country, and each program target for specific PhD program. Once you select as a PrEP fellow, you get paid for 1 year of research with mentors who are in your field of interest. And like Diana had talking about, at IUPUI, we send the student through a rotation month, 3 different labs, so you can feel belong to what lab. And during the time that you are PrEP fellow, you get paid $35,000 salary working with the lab, as well as a cohort, a mentor that can help you to get there. So reach out and find opportunity to connect, and you have to be active in your search for your pathway to your ultimately goal in STEM education. And thank you. I know it's time up, and Brian, thank you.
No, thank you, Dr. Nguyen. You're our fearless leader on this quest. For those that don't know Dr. Nguyen, she is the driving force behind all of this from an LSMRCE standpoint. And we thank you for that level of detail and all the efforts that you bring forward to helping our students over the years. I will say that, as Dr. Nguyen said, as much as we put the information out, I also think we do have a responsibility as students to go on that quest as well. And also at your local campuses, feel comfortable and feel safe with having that dialogue with your local administrators and faculty that are in the LSAM space about what you need. We, to a certain degree, we try to think about the needs of the students and put things in place. But at the same time, they are not mind readers. And so if there is something that you specifically need, don't sit on the sideline. Make sure that you're letting them know what support you need, what questions you may have, and then leveraging all the different channels. So you have the workshops that we do from an LSMRCE standpoint. You have NALA, you have these conferences, you have your local LSAM. There's so many channels to reach out to that there should be never a question that you have that cannot get answered. And then also, I want to challenge you with this conference. You are exposed to so many people who can help you. Today, we're going to have the career fair, or what's a formal name that we call it? We don't call it
resource fair. Resource fair.
Yeah, we call it our resource fair, right? You're going to have so many people that you can connect with that could benefit you either today or in the future. But you have to play offense with your success. So make sure that you're leveraging all of these. And then also inside of the Hoover app, the Hoover app has amazing opportunities to find like people who have like interest as you, similar locations. So if you go into the attendee section of the app, it dissects people into all of these different bite-sized groups for you to reach out to them. And I challenge you over the next 2 days, direct message someone. And then also remember, in the Hoover app, it's going to save this information from this conference. And so you can still stay connected with people inside of Hoover and find out, oh, okay, I want to go back and find out that one person that maybe I forgot to speak to. You can still get connected with them even after the conference. So just want you to feel comfortable being aggressive about your life and your success. But at the same time, we are doing everything that we can to try to put those resources in place for you. All right. Well, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and end here, and we'll start transitioning over to the conference intro today. And we'll be right back with you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for another breakfast talk. So thank you all so much for attending, and look forward to talking to you throughout the day. Take care, everyone. Bye.